And when you have that feeling that kind of sinks into your heart, when you're like, I feel alone, I feel isolated, I want you to look at where your feet are and put them in a different place.
Hey everyone, it's Amy Lynn Durham, and you're listening to Create Magic at Work. Create Magic at Work is on a mission to equip senior leaders with tools they need to be a true quantum leader and actually understand what that means. Improve employee engagement, retain top talent, and transform your workplace culture to have less drama and stress. So let's start making magic. Hey everyone. Welcome to a special Create Magic at Work episode today. It is the 3-year birthday, anniversary, whatever you want to call it, of Create Magic at Work, the podcast. 3 years in September, this podcast has been running. It's incredible. I can't even believe it's been 3 years of interviewing amazing guests that are leaders in spiritual intelligence, in wanting to advocate for healthy leaders and workplaces. It has been a journey, and I want to thank everyone that has been listening to the show and all of the newcomers that are listening to the show now. So today I have a special episode planned for you. I threw out a couple of posts on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I basically said, hey, what is the biggest challenge you're facing at work right now? Whether you're dealing with office drama or navigating a stressful situation, trying to find inner peace when you feel like you're in chaos. We wanted to hear about it here at Create Magic at Work. And so I said, tell us, DM us, put it in the comments, and we'll go on the air and we will help you solve your workplace challenges. Create Magic at Work is not just an amazing, incredible podcast that has been running for 3 years now. It is also an executive coaching firm. And I asked one of my coaching partners, the amazing Tracy Meyer, to join me in sharing the answers to some of your workplace challenge questions. So let me give you a little bit of background on Tracy. She is a former guest. You might remember her. She wrote The Leadership Contradiction. And we did a whole entire episode about the leadership contradiction, which was actually extremely popular with all of you in the Create Magic at Work community. So Tracy partners with Create Magic at Work through executive coaching. She has extensive leadership success in hospitality, business development, and facility operations. She has a uniquely authentic ability to relate to and develop all levels of employees and model excellence in a 360-degree fashion. And her human-to-human approach allows her to maximize each engagement. So Tracy, thank you for being here with me to help answer and hopefully solve everyone's workplace challenges today. That's a big call to order, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, Amy, so much. And I must say congratulations. 3 years is a really big deal. And that's a lot of focus on your part to helping others and to, putting some magic into the workplace, that the things that we've experienced in our careers separately, over many decades, and we hear about regularly. So congratulations on the podcast. It's a thrill and a privilege to work with you at Create Magic at Work, and raise the bar and level up what we can expect at work today. So thank you. Looking forward to this. It's gonna be fun.
Love The Leadership Contradiction. It's one of my favorite books. Okay, so I gotta share this. I put this post on LinkedIn and I said, DM me, it's a safe space, which I know some people are probably like, oh gosh, because everyone's in everyone's DMs. And then I also put the post on Instagram and said, message me or reply to this question. If you have questions, we want to help you. If you're feeling stuck, whatever it is, right? Whatever workplace challenge. So interestingly enough, I had the majority of replies come through on Instagram. which actually is not that interesting to me now that I'm saying that, because LinkedIn, I at first I was like, gosh, everybody's got to have something, right? We all need a coach, an executive coach to help us through whatever we're going through. Even if it's something super positive, we're going to have to navigate it in the workplace. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense, because I think people are afraid to be real on LinkedIn. And I remember, and I'm sure you do too, Tracy, in your corporate organization days, LinkedIn, everyone always felt like they were being watched on LinkedIn, or they had to say the right thing. And so it made sense that people might not be so transparent about what they're going through versus Instagram. So, and of course, I'm going to share all this anonymous, right? And I also want to share a disclaimer about this. What Tracy and I are about to do is draw on our past and our coaching expertise to offer options. Now, if you work with an executive coach, we don't typically go the advice route immediately. We're trained to work through helping you facilitate your thinking. And we are specifically trained in asking powerful, meaningful questions to help you have these breakthrough moments. That's truly what executive coaching is for you in the workplace. Now, we're going to kind of which is one of the skills in the spiritual intelligence in SQ21, the wise and effective teacher, right? We're going to try to don that hat today and practice that skill for everyone as we go through what people sent in. So this is going to be fun. So get ready, because I have my phone here and I'm just reading like screenshots of what everyone sent me on Instagram. So again, the question was like, what's a challenge you're facing at work? What do you need help with? Share it. And we're here to answer it. So Tracy, the first one that came through was, I am struggling with more work than the time I have to complete it. And I am struggling with being able to honor time boundaries. What would you say to someone in helping them work through feeling like they have a work overload? They're trying to honor these boundaries they've set for themselves for time. Like I can feel this in the question. It's like, we've all been taught this self-care. We need to set boundaries. No, shut your phone off, shut your laptop off, don't answer your email. But this person is feeling like they have more work than time to complete it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I want to throw out another disclaimer, is that I've not heard these questions ahead of time. So
yeah, none of us have.
we agreed that we would just pull them up and answer them, honestly and from our experience in the corporate workplace as leaders, but also as executive coaches. So we can just throw that out there. So I'm seeing through this question what I get a lot with people I coach, some that are newer leaders, and also some that have been, in the corporate workplace for many years. And it seems like there's always more to do, right? And we kind of toss up this struggle of, how can I look good at my job and perform well and be what I told them I was going to be when they hired me, right? And keep from burning out, and keep from, going home one day saying, I hate my job, or not being able to be the person at home that I want to be for my family. First, I want to validate whomever has this question. And I think there are probably many more people out there listening that have that same question. What I would suggest with this struggle is to first kind of evaluate where you are in regards to, what is your job description? What is it that you've been asked to do over and above? Is this truly a struggle with not having enough time in the day? Or could it possibly be your organizational skills and not being able to manage, what you have on your plate? So again, in an executive coaching scenario, I would help this person kind of guide them through being very honest with themselves, first of all, What is it that you're supposed to be doing, and what are you taking your time to do? But a good way to approach this, simply without getting into details, is to actually get a journal and write down, the daily tasks, like break up your week, to a Monday through Friday, which is, a typical work week if, we're giving ourselves weekends. And write, are there things that you do every day, at 8 o'clock that you have to do? Check emails, whatever, respond to clients, depending upon what the role is, and start layering that in, but keep this journal where you write, maybe there's something that you just do on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then, how long does that take? Is it a 30-minute task or is it 1 hour task? And take the time. And I love doing this with clients is really looking at what is the core of your job. And then what is the stuff that's busy work that's taking up your time? Is it self-imposed where you're spending a little bit too much time getting coffee? Or is it truly the boss that wants to keep putting stuff on your plate until you crumble? So I think that would be like the first suggestion would be able to really evaluate where you're at, put it on paper. When we keep it in our head and think about it or talk to other people about it, we often don't get anywhere unless you're talking to an executive coach, of course. But in order to do that yourself, and of course, either one of us could help you with that, write down in reality what each task is each day, the time amounted, and then you can start evaluating what's stealing your time or what's being piled upon you. That's my first thought, Amy.
Yeah, really good. I would say for me to answer that, Tracy, I'm just going to kind of bounce off what you've already shared because I think you hit something really important is what is the work that I'm doing? If you have more work than time, that is a great way to sit down and evaluate, like how you just said, Tracy, like what is the work that I'm doing? And something that came up for me as you were sharing your reply is, okay, we have lived with this phrase ingrained in us, like do more than what you're paid to do. At least if you grew up in the rise and grind era, right? Like always do more than what you're paid for was kind of like ingrained in me because that's how you move up. That's how you get a promotion. That's how you succeed is you do more than what you're getting paid for. However, I think we should press pause here and really think about that phrase in particular with women, because I think we're already doing more than what we get paid for all the freaking time. And in particular, perhaps this is another moment to pause. Yes, do the daily task inventory like Tracy recommended. Beautiful recommendation. And assess what's really important to you in your life, in the season of your life right now. That's one thing I would sit with and think about. The other thing is, like you mentioned, Tracy, is this a company that's constantly putting projects and heavy workloads on? Is this a one-off or is this a pattern? And that's something we would need to decipher with like who we're working for. Is this a pattern that there's always a fire drill. There's always something. There's always a project. Is this the way that the consciousness of this company is operating? Because that's a fast track to burnout, right? So a couple of takeaways there. Assess what's really important to you right now. And I guess I'm just saying, don't do more than what you're paid for. I can't even believe I'm saying it. Like my body's having a reaction because of everything that I've been ingrained with. And do that daily inventory assessment of like what that Tracy recommended. What are those tasks that are most important for you? And see what comes up from that, right? It's not a magic pill you can take, although this is the magic show, the Create Magic at Work, but that's a start to get to the magic. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to add one more kind of a caveat also to what you just shared, Amy. And it's that if we are constantly doing more than we have time for or getting to that point of struggle or stress, then maybe we're not doing some of those things well. We're kind of shooting our own foot, so to speak, because we, on attempting to do all of these tasks and check them off and get them all done and keep sucking up to all of this, waterfall of things to do, we become less effective at the things that we are supposed to do. So yeah, take a strong look at where we're at with that. And yeah, like Amy said, definitely, that would be a reason to say, don't do more than you should. Go back and look at the quality of what you're doing as well. What a great question.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. How do you find motivation in a work environment where you work remote and alone? And again, before, I know you're sitting with that question, Tracy, I didn't really read these either. I tried to screen grab them and hold on to them. So yes, we want to answer these on the fly. I'm really feeling for this person right now. I really almost want to just take a moment. How do you find motivation in a work environment where you work remote and alone? I mean, the first thing that hit me was connection. I go back to the Harvard Business Review research that said burnout it's so interesting. This was the next question because the question before was about workload. And this question is about feeling isolated and lonely. And pre-pandemic, Harvard Business Review came out with a research article that was called The Loneliest Workers in America. And they were basically saying, hey, it might not just be workload. It might be that people feel isolated and they feel lonely. And that was before we went into lockdown. And before we even started really remote working. So my first thought is connection. How can you connect, even if it feels awkward? What are 3 things, going back to being a coach, asking questions, right? What are 3 things you can do today where you feel more connected with others? It doesn't even have to be with your colleagues. It could be outside of work. If you're feeling alone, the connection is the recipe. But it's how do you get that connection when you're sitting in a room all day on a computer? There has to be some deep dive into what that looks like for you. Can you reach out to a colleague and have a Zoom chat with them that's deep and meaningful? Can you take a break and call a friend and have a conversation in that way? Whatever it is for you to cultivate connection would be my prescription for that. But I would have to have that person, what I'm going back to the coach, what does that look like for you? What does that prescription look like for you? What lights you up? What energizes you? What helps you not feel drained? And then I would kind of go down the road in that way. What about you, Tracy?
Yeah, so I agree with you that the prescription would be certainly different depending upon what different people need in their day, and certainly are they truly alone at home, and are there roommates, are there pets that live with you, are there do you have a family? There's a lot of other things, but what came to mind for me really quickly. That I've shared with a lot of people I coach is the first thing I ask them when something like that is said is, where are your feet right now? And most people will laugh and go, what in the world does that mean? And so if I were to ask you that right now, where are your feet at? You'd probably look down and you'd go, okay, my feet are right here. Where are they? Okay, well, they're under my desk. And my remedy for that is leave a pair of shoes, tennis shoes that are easy to slip on, leave them by your front door. And when you have that feeling that kind of sinks into your heart, when you're I feel alone, I feel isolated, I want you to look at where your feet are and put them in a different place. So this may sound kind of corny for a lot of you, but I practice this myself because it's become so powerful. And I did work alone before COVID. And I didn't always want to call the people I worked with. I wanted to get a different perspective, right? So I have a lot of people that I coach that they do that. They have a pair of shoes by their front door. And so what I do also is I will go downstairs to my, get out of my office, go downstairs to that pair of shoes that's stuck next to my front door, put them on and walk out the door. Now, it has to become at the beginning, it's something that you have to really encourage yourself to do, and you have to plan it. But after a while, it gets normal. If you look at your feet, because you're having that feeling, just don't think about it any further. Go to where those shoes are, put them on, walk out the door. And this only needs to happen for 10 minutes or so. But what I have found is getting a different perspective, looking at the grass outside, looking up into the sky. It might be raining, it might be snowy, and it might be really hot and sunny. Just take 10 minutes for yourself, take some deep breaths, and get a different perspective. Because sometimes that isolation for me that I found was just that I'm in these four walls all the time. And I have a great time when I'm coaching others, when I'm dealing with colleagues and partners and helping solve people's problems. But sometimes I need it. And often it's every day too. So commit to yourselves to take 10 minutes to go get a different perspective. If it's not even walking outside, maybe you're in an area where, that's not something that would help at all, then just jump in your car or on a bicycle or something. I could find that even going to the grocery store and grabbing a couple pieces of fruit, it's not the fruit, it's the interaction with other human beings, that connection that Amy talked about, that I think is the strongest word. So the connection can be with animals, it could be with other humans, or it could be with nature, but the connection is real.
Yeah, really good. Thank you for sharing that tip. People feel more disconnected and more lonely than ever. And we have so many ways to connect, which is technologically, right? So it's quite interesting that we're in this polarity or this paradox, however you want to call it. One exercise I want to throw out that you actually kind of sparked within me, Tracy, is I do this word destroying exercise. I think words are really powerful. And if you're listening and if you feel lonely or if you feel remote, I would ask, what is the opposite feeling of that? For me, it came up, to feel connected, to feel a connection. And then start branching off from connection. What can I do in my life that brings me more connection? And it's different for everyone. And that's a good tip for anyone. Like if you're thinking of a word, I'm lonely, I feel stuck, I feel drained. What is the opposite of that word? Write that down and then write ways that you can bring more of the opposite of that word into your life. I call it the word destroying exercise that I do with clients. All right, it's time for a fun, playful, quick break. And it's time for you to discover your spiritual intelligence at work. So over here at Create Magic at Work, we are not just a great podcast. We are an executive coaching firm, a team dedicated to helping leaders like you create healthier, more fulfilling workplaces. Whether it's through private coaching, transformative workshops, or impactful keynotes, we're here to help support your journey to have less drama and stress and more magical moments in your life. So have a little fun. Take our quick quiz in the show notes and see where you stand. Discover your spiritual intelligence at work. Click on the link in the show notes and reach out to us for support if you need it. Sending magic to you. This is a big one. This is our next, gosh, I can't believe how fast the time's going by. Okay. So this person said, I'm not getting paid enough and I'm getting rejected when I'm applying for jobs to move up in pay. Some jobs I've applied for, they don't even reply back after the interview. So this person's feeling like they're not getting paid enough and they're trying to apply for other areas and they're getting rejected from jobs. It's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a powerful question. And I can feel the emotion in that as well. And, been there myself and have worked with a lot of people who have felt that way. My first instinct on that one is to just prepare ourselves differently for that conversation or for that, I guess, preparing for battle. That's the best thing I can think of. Because sometimes it feels like a battle, right? When we're wanting to get promoted, we're working really hard and, we're trying to do all the stuff that we know needs to get done today. But at the same time, we want to look at the future. We want to, why are other people getting promoted and other people moving up? So a couple of things I would recommend. First of all is network with some people that have the job that you want to have. It doesn't have to be at your company, but it can be. let's say you're in an entry-level position in logistics, okay? And you're learning about the company and the products and et cetera, but you want to have one of those senior positions. Ask the person that's in that position now if you could buy them a cup of coffee and ask them more about their job and what they love about their job. Get connected with them. Let them know that you're just really interested in finding out more about their job. Go on LinkedIn. Go on some of these other new things like Alignable that's out there that I've discovered recently, where people will take some time. They'll take 20 minutes or 30 minutes. People are becoming kinder. They're becoming more connected and realizing that the more we give back, the more that we get to retain for ourselves. So find some people. And if you need suggestions, call Amy and I know both of us could help you come up with a list pretty quickly. Find some people in your own company or in maybe a professional organization or a networking group or an organization that's part of the type of work that you do, and just start networking. Think about this way ahead of the time that you're going to apply for the job. The second step, I would say, is take that information that you're gathering. First of all, you want to thank that person. Send a handwritten note, not an email or not, do that old school stuff that people appreciate. Send a handwritten note thanking them for their time, before you finish that first meeting. And maybe they'll want to meet with you again, but ask them, what kinds of things do you think I should do to prepare for a position like yours if something ever comes up? They might say, well, gosh, in order for me to get this job, I needed to have this certification and blah, blah, blah. Then you could start looking into what is it going to take to get that certification. So really, instead of, kind of immersing yourself in that awful feeling you have, start preparing yourself by connecting. There's that word connection again, connecting and reaching out to what is it you're going to need so that you're better prepared when the time comes.
Yeah, really good. A side note, Tracy and I are both certified Edgewalker facilitators. And one of the key skills of an Edgewalker is connecting at a high level. So if you do need help connecting more, that is one of our areas that we can help you with in our coaching practice. And I know Tracy is also really passionate about the Edgewalker archetypes of change, which helps us see change in a beautiful way and helps with organizational change overall. I'm going to take the other side of this, Tracy, and I'm going to say, and I love all of your tips, but I'm going to say to everyone listening, I have seen more often than not lately, people applying for jobs, jumping through numerous hoops, people that are qualified to get jobs, and then they get ghosted. And so both sides of the street need to be clean. Yes, if you feel like you're not getting paid enough and you have that inner knowing, like, I am not getting paid enough and I keep getting rejected from jobs, but you have this knowing that what is meant for you will not pass you by. That's a theme today. And that you're going to be flexibly persistent towards your dreams and your goals. Love what Tracy said, right? Like, maybe look at it as a learning experience, grow, this, that. However, the other side of the street, recruiters, people that are hiring, HR, all of those things, we are dealing with human beings. So please give them a reply. Tell them they haven't been chosen for the position if they haven't. If you're not afraid of legal ramifications, give them some information that can help them grow and move forward. So next time they might actually be chosen. That is one of the big missing things that I am seeing today is we are moving so fast. Things are becoming so automated that we are not remembering the person that is waiting to hear back for this job that they love so much that they wanted to get. And they're waiting. And should I reach out? Should I check in? Love the handwritten note, right? Send a handwritten note. Send a follow-up again. Fine. But also, I have done thousands of interviews in my career. Thousands. I've hired hundreds of people. And I haven't been, if you measured me back when I was probably like a newer leader, I probably fell into this same category of I'm busy, I'm weeding through everybody, I got to find the person I need and get going. That is not the wise and compassionate leader. The wise and compassionate leader that leads to have impact, not only at work, but in our communities, the planet, humanity as a whole, responds to people that are waiting, that applied for a job, that jumped through your 20 hoops, that took your 30 tests that you make people take nowadays, your personality test, whatever it is, right? I'm being such a brat. So please honor the human that applied, and let's make sure both sides are doing their part. That's my take on that. Okay, one more, even though we're like almost
Wait,
at
let
time.
me add one more thing, though. I have to, Amy. So honor the human. That's so powerful. Just one thing I'm going to say is, yes, I'm going to speak to the HR folks out there too. Don't ghost people. That's just an awful human way to be. And I know things get busy. And if you are going to accept 1,000 resumes, be prepared to respond to 1,000 people. And I'll tell you what I did in the hospitality business, because it was a direct reflection of how we managed our business. And we would have, it was a form letter, okay, granted, but it went out to every person who applied for the job. And it just said, thank you for your time. We've selected another candidate at this time, and we do wish you well in your search. It's the simplest things, but that is part of the end of the process, in my opinion, as a senior leader for several decades. Got to be prepared to send that out because it means the world to the person that's receiving it.
Yeah. And from an SQ perspective, you're closing an energy loop. You're helping that person who's opened up themselves energetically to possibly work for you, and they're waiting, and you've closed that energy loop, right? Or that I don't know if I would call it a loop, but that's what's coming to me right now. Like, you're closing that energy so they can go live and do something spectacular and do what was meant for them. I'm getting all deep now. Okay. All right. Final question today. And by the way, we're going to be having more of these. If you all like this, listening, hopefully you can hear that we're reading these questions anonymously. I'm going to have different coaches that are partnered with Create Magic at Work come on and help answer some of these questions for all of you, so you can just get to know the coaches that work with Create Magic at Work. If you're a leader that's listening and you're like, gosh, this support would be great for some of my team, it would just be great for them to be able to talk to somebody confidentially, and then they come back to work with more inner peace. They have more effective communication, better decision making. And if you need support for yourself, please reach out to us at createmagicatwork.net. Of course, we're accessible on LinkedIn and in the DMs, however you want to reach out. And hopefully you're enjoying this. So final question. Someone said, I'm having a challenge finding my patient place. When you're growing and changing things up, the energetic fire to have something happen exactly right now can turn into a bit of a dragon, at least for me. So this person is having trouble finding patience while things are growing and changing. They have a strong energetic fire that they want something to happen right now. They probably can sense that edge walker, what you can sense but can't yet see, right? And this impatience is coming forward of like, I need this now. I want this right now. And they're saying it's turning into a bit of a dragon for them. That was their words. What would we say to that, Tracy?
Well, as somebody who's super comfortable with change, and I think it's because I've slayed so many dragons in my career, I think I finally realized that my lack of patience only makes that dragon grow more fierce, right? So I think that looking at, the quote that you talked about earlier, Amy, that things that you're supposed to have will not pass you by. It's going to take some practice. It's going to take some, journaling, some talking to a friend, and just knowing that if it's meant to be, it'll come your way. And, the more we pay attention to the dragon, the bigger it's going to get. So I am a person who's comfortable with change. I love the assessment that we both are familiar with, the archetypes of change. I've done that with individuals and with companies. So if that's something that we can help you with, if it's really something where you need to kind of look at, what is your perspective on change, we can help you with that. But more than anything, in my opinion, to quiet the dragon and to develop more patience is to focus on the other things that you have going on that you need to accomplish, and know that it will be whatever's supposed to happen will happen. And I'm not sure if that's the greatest answer, but patience is something that we have to develop over time. It really is.
I feel like this person saying they're having trouble finding their patient place. And I think that's a call to presence. If you're having trouble, for all of us, I mean, we are not immune to any of this stuff, right? And sometimes when we have a vision and we're passionate and we want this passionate vision to manifest into reality, what we can envision, I can totally see impatience coming up from that. Like, oh my gosh, like, why isn't this happening? I can sense this. I can sense the future of this. What is happening here? And a couple of things I would say to that: call to presence. Like earlier, you were like, where are your feet right now? I'm taking it more like for a presence moment. Like one of my old colleagues used to say, he was so funny. He used to say, make sure your head is where your butt is. For a call to presence. So check in, make sure your head was where your butt is. And I thought of this story I heard. I heard this story from a friend the other day at one of my spiritual mentors. And she was saying she was talking to this older gentleman, and he was already retired and looking back, and he was like, gosh, I miss those days. I miss those days of waking up and like, I need a plan, and what am I going to do today? And, the striving for that vision and that passion. He was like, oh yeah, that's the journey, right? That's the journey we all talk about. That's this whole thing that we all get caught up into, is we want to be at the finish line when we've barely started the journey. And so why do we want to skip through all of that stuff, through all of that juiciness? Well, because sometimes it feels hard, because we think the finish line is going to be puppy dogs and rainbows, when really it might just be another new journey that starts after completion. So for me, I know it sounds simple, but sometimes these things are just simple and hard, complex, I guess. It's a call to presence, and see what comes up from there. That's how I would sum that up.
I love that. Yes. Be where you're at. Just, be where your feet are. I love it.
Make sure your head is where your butt is.
Yeah. That's a great one.
That was my friend Scott used to say that, my old colleague. He always got in trouble with HR for kind of saying the wrong thing, but it always had like, hey, that was some wisdom. There was some wisdom in that,
Absolutely. It's all about being aligned with your own self, right? So
yeah,
good stuff.
I can't have our birthday solving your workplace problem episodes without pulling a traditional card and message for everyone. So I'm going to do that right now for you and I, Tracy, and for everyone listening. Let's see what message we get today. I can't even. Look what I got. Patience. Literally, from the question, this person just asked, I do not fake this. I can't. Okay.
No, and I know that you don't, and it's always remarkable, and it's always the perfect card. I just love your cards, Amy.
Yeah, well, this is a testament to all of the Create Magic at Work listeners that show up and listen with this like high vibe energy. I know that's like a layman, thing. And also for your presence here, Tracy, that this magic happens with what we were talking about. So we got patience. Okay, so I trust the timing of my life, and I know that I am exactly where I am supposed to be right now. I trust the timing of my life and know that I am exactly where I am supposed to be right now. That is everyone's affirmation for the day. And for that person that submitted, help me. I need to find my patience. It's turning into a dragon. I trust the timing of my life and know that I am exactly where I am supposed to be right now. And I want everyone listening to think about, let's not forget everything that we've done, and just a call to journal by hand, use that humanity in us. What seeds have you already planted that will lead to your future success? And what can you do today that will lead to prosperous outcomes in your future? So you can pause and rewind or whatever. What seeds have you planted that will lead to your future success? What work can you do today that will lead to prosperous outcomes in the future? Tracy, thank you so much for joining me and introducing yourself. I know everyone heard you on the leadership contradiction, but just introducing yourself as a coach with Create Magic at Work. We're here to help. Tracy, thank you for being the first pilot episode of this and answering these questions on the fly.
Well, I'm so honored, Amy, and congratulations again on 3 years. You've changed many lives, and many you don't know about, but there are a lot out there, and just so proud of this that you've created, and honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone listening for 3 years of magic. And I hope that you felt some magic today from everything. Go out and find some presents. And happy birthday, Create Magic at Work.